Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the 6 quiet habits of highly intelligent minds. We usually think of intelligence as something super loud, right? Things like public grades, fancy degrees, or effortlessly crushing a debate in front of a crowd. But the research tells a completely different story. It turns out, true cognitive sophistication actually lives in the quiet, private moments that nobody else ever even sees. Highly intelligent minds operate in a fundamentally different way when no one is watching. So, what really happens in your mind when you're completely alone? Let's just imagine a scenario for a second. Picture a simple stickman character sitting in a vast, perfectly quiet library. There's no audience, there's no performance to keep up, no one to impress, and absolutely no need to explain yourself to anybody. This sets the perfect introspective stage. What actually happens internally in that absolute quiet? For most folks, the brain just kind of rests, or maybe wanders to grocery lists and daily chores. But for a specific type of thinker, this exact isolation kicks off a totally unique set of cognitive behaviors. That brings us right to habit 1, embracing mental discomfort. When faced with a really difficult question, the average mind just wants to rush to an easy conclusion, mostly to escape that anxious feeling of not knowing. But rare minds, they do something entirely different. The formal term for this is epistemic patience. Basically, it's the ability to hold a question open without forcing a premature answer. If you're the kind of person who sits alone, turning a complex idea over and over in your head without demanding an immediate resolution, you are doing something pretty remarkable. It's totally counterintuitive because, let's be real, it doesn't always feel productive. In fact, sitting in that uncertainty can feel incredibly uncomfortable. But a mind with epistemic patience actually allows itself to arrive at the truth, rather than just settling for whatever answer is convenient. It is literally one of the highest cognitive functions a human brain can pull off. Moving right along to habit 2, the internal debate. Now, most people spend their private time replaying imaginary arguments in the shower that they always win, but a highly intelligent mind takes the exact opposite approach. Psychologists call this active self-opposition. It means being your own absolute harshest critic, completely in private. You're essentially putting your own ideas on trial. So instead of just trying to validate your pre-existing beliefs, you genuinely try to build the strongest possible case against your own opinions, just to vigorously test them. And it's fascinating to note that almost every major intellectual breakthrough in history came from a mind that was willing to ruthlessly argue against itself when nobody else was watching. We really need to highlight the critical difference here, because these two concepts get mixed up all the time. Self-doubt questions whether you are good enough. It acts like this heavy emotional weight that undermines you. Active self-opposition, on the other hand, questions whether your thinking is accurate. One breaks you down, but the other absolutely sharpens your mind. This deeply logical approach extends internally, too, bringing us to habit 3, emotional data collection. Look, anyone can feel an emotion, right? But very few people actually study their own emotions like data. The crucial engine behind this is metacognition. In plain terms, it just means thinking about your own thinking. It's that rare ability to feel an emotion and then trace its triggers backward to their roots. It's like observing your own feelings from a slight distance, almost as a third party. If you're sitting alone and observing not just what you're feeling, but exactly why a specific situation triggered that specific response, you're functioning on a totally different level of awareness. And the kicker is doing this completely unprompted, without a therapist guiding you. Your mind is simply watching itself work. Let's just pause right here for a quick reality check, because I want to validate you. If you identified with those first 3 habits, chances are you've been told you overthink things, or that you're too much in your head. People probably tell you to stop analyzing everything. But honestly, what looked like overthinking from the outside was actually just your intelligence doing exactly what it was designed to do, working deeply in private. Those criticisms were just ordinary minds encountering a highly functional operating system. Okay, let's look at habit 4, reorganizing the past. Highly intelligent people do not just store their old experiences in a mental box and leave them there to gather dust. This is known as cognitive flexibility. It shows that your mind isn't just a fixed filing cabinet. It's an active, dynamic system. You actually return to your past experiences. Have you ever looked back at an old memory and suddenly realized, wow, that means something completely different to me now? You realize the lesson you took away back then was incomplete, simply because you've grown and your mind is more developed today. While most people's understanding of their own lives gets permanently locked in at the moment the event occurred, yours keeps reorganizing and evolving. And that constant mental evolution requires serious fuel, which leads us to habit 5, the drive of fascination. This goes way beyond just shallow curiosity. We are talking about a mind that has not been domesticated by utility. Sure, we all experience shallow curiosity, learning something just to look smart, make a buck, or solve an immediate problem. But that shallow curiosity completely vanishes the exact moment the problem is solved. Following genuine intrinsic curiosity simply because a topic is fascinating, that shows an incredible intellectual freedom. You dive deep into subjects that have absolutely zero practical payoff, purely because you can't let them go. And let me tell you, that kind of freedom is rarer than almost any resume credential you could ever obtain. Finally, we arrive at habit 6, the mid-thought pivot. This is all about what happens when you commit to a mental direction, but then suddenly realize, wait, I might be wrong. This is defined as a real-time intellectual agility. Most folks, once they commit to an argument, will blindly follow it to the bitter end, just out of sheer cognitive habit and ego. But if you regularly catch yourself mid-thought, recognize your reasoning as flawed or incomplete, and voluntarily change direction without your ego getting bruised, you are doing something extraordinary. It's that fluid ability to redirect your thoughts the moment new data enters your brain. It's a remarkably rare cognitive trait, and formal education almost never teaches it. We're taught to defend our answers, right? Not to gracefully abandon the mid-sentence when we realize we're off track. All right, let's quickly recap these 6 markers of rare intelligence so you can see the full checklist. Number 1, sitting with uncomfortable questions. Number 2, actively arguing against your own beliefs to test them. Number 3, noticing and tracing your emotional patterns. Number 4, dynamically reinterpreting your old memories. Number 5, following intrinsic curiosity just for the thrill of learning. And number 6, having the agility to make graceful mid-thought pivots. That is exactly how a truly brilliant mind operates in private. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. True intelligence doesn't need an audience. It absolutely thrives in the quiet. So I have to ask you, which of these 6 quiet habits felt most like something you already do naturally, but maybe you just never had the precise language for until today? Drop your experiences in the comments below. Honestly, by sharing, you might just realize you're finally part of a validated community of rare minds, and that none of us are truly alone in the quiet.